All right, and we are live. Hey guys, welcome, everybody, welcome in. Want to welcome you guys to something new that we're trying here at Truck and Hustle. Typically, we talk about entrepreneurship in the trucking industry, transportation, and logistics, but there's something that's going on in the industry that we also need to definitely touch on. That's the emerging technology, right? Tons of emerging tech that's going on. And we want to just do something different, man. We want to start highlighting some of the tech entrepreneurs out here in the space. A lot of new innovations, a lot of really cool things happening, and we want to be at the head of that. So today for my first show, I've invited my man Solomon Zakinov or Zakinov. Which one was it? Which one did we decide on?
You got it right.
Zakinov from ShipX, right? From ShipX, and you guys are providing a solution in last mile delivery space. And a couple other spaces as well. So I want you to be able to talk about that, talk about exactly what you guys are doing, and talk about your backstory as well, man, how you got into tech and how you got started doing this, man. So first of all, Solomon, welcome to the show, sir.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Rahmel, for having me. It's cool to be on. I know your audience is very much into this, very much into transportation. So hoping the technology side could be of some good, useful information as well for the folks out there. A quick background about myself. I've been in logistics and transportation for about 10 years now. I started out just being in e-commerce, so selling stuff online, and that kind of pivoted into, I want to say almost 10 years now, or a little bit less than that, where I was part of a logistics. At the time, it was a startup that my brother had founded called Ruby Has Fulfillment. And we were, one little tiny warehouse, and we were kind of one of the first pioneers for e-commerce fulfillment. So the idea of you selling something from out of your house or, out of anywhere and it being shipped out, right? So with kind of with the Shopify's out there and all these other platforms that allowed you to kind of be a person in your garage shipping stuff and selling stuff. We were kind of one of the first companies to provide a warehouse function for that and a shipping function for that. So these entrepreneurs would come to us, they'd store their stuff and we'd ship it out. And that grew to, something quite large. And I was doing that for a number of years. So that was kind of my first foray into logistics, which was more on the warehousing side and the shipping side, which kind of led into the segue of why ShipX started, which was really kind of around the pandemic time. There was this need in the market for more transparent shipping options, or delivery options rather, more options in general, just because, unlike trucking where there's tens of thousands of carriers and every broker out there also has access to those same tens of thousands of carriers, right? There's a lot of options in the market. On the parcel side, there's really, two main national players in FedEx and UPS. And then a lot of the stuff that the post office delivers, which tends to be all the lightweight stuff that you guys get from like Amazon and a lot of other, smaller things, are mostly delivered by the post office in the United States. So that was the idea of how we could do that. And our technology, the central idea behind our technology was to piece together all of these small little delivery companies in the United States. And there are thousands of them that deliver to doorsteps under one platform to be able to execute the delivery for retailers all over the United States. So most of our if not all of our shippers are heavily e-com shippers, or big warehouses that support e-com shippers as well. So we work with a lot of like e-commerce stuff. And then about a year ago, we got more into the trucking side because as we were running the delivery, we realized that a big part of operationalizing a delivery infrastructure is having trucks on the road and trucks over the road, being able to pick up from a distribution center and then bringing it into a sortation hub, and from a sortation hub into a delivery center, right, where it gets ultimately sorted and routed for the final mile. So we made an acquisition last year for a company that does that trucking middle mile extensively, and are experts in injection into carriers as well as pickups, and that's really helped us grow our business significantly. So in our space in logistics tech is really been burgeoning last 10 to 15 years, Rahmel, and we're trying to take advantage of all the new technologies that are out there and execute deliveries better than anybody else. So that's kind of the overall big picture of what we try to do every day.
Got it. When did you guys start the platform?
About 3 years now. It's been about 3 years.
3 years. How difficult was it, if difficult at all, to try to, get all these, shippers together to be on one platform? Was that a heavy lift?
It was. It was definitely very time consuming. It's definitely not as it's definitely not as simple as being, let's say, a broker out there and onboarding a trucking carrier. Parcel carriers, especially in the space that we live in, there's a lot of technology to it where you have to integrate to these carriers, or figure out a different way for them to essentially execute the delivery using technology of some sort. And that is pretty time consuming from a procurement standpoint, right? Because you got to really go out there and negotiate and talk and figure out how to talk to these different carriers all over the United States. So it is pretty time consuming from a operationalizing a network like this. Yeah, that's actually probably one of our main selling points, is the ability to procure these carriers at a rapid pace using the technology that we've built to execute that. So yeah.
And what is the actual, the benefit to the end user?
Yeah, so that's a great question. There's multiple. So there's I would say like three central reasons a lot of companies would want to use either us or any other really alternate delivery solution out there as far as on the parcel side, because there are other companies or just smaller or larger regional competitors, let's say, that companies can contract with. And one of the main reasons is just that diversification. You don't want to put all your eggs in one basket, especially with UPS and FedEx kind of trending away from going, providing a better and better service, right? They're kind of, with all the surcharges, the peak season stuff we saw in COVID with all those surcharges, the pricing isn't really there. It's not a transparent pricing environment. So you don't want to have all your eggs in one basket. And we see a lot of times in Q4, a lot of smaller or mid-sized retailers being told, hey, we don't have the capacity for you in general. So they go out and they find, they basically tell their shippers, hey, give out some of the volume to somebody else. So a lot of retailers, purely diversification reasons, they want to go with alternate providers, right? Another major benefit is the transparency in pricing, which I kind of spoke about a little bit earlier. Our rates are extremely simple. We don't have all those. If anyone out there is familiar with parcel shipping, you would know that there's like a lot of surcharges applied to each package. Minimum of one. Usually it's multiple for anywhere that it's going to typically, and that really impacts the price. So it's a lot harder to price out for your products that you're selling on your website or on your platform, whatever the platform may be, because of the fact that most shippers today still do free shipping, right? So the transparency, the simplification of pricing, using our model really helps. Another thing that's unique to us is we're also the first carbon neutral parcel delivery company in the United States. So all of our deliveries are made either using electric vehicles or offset. So that's another benefit, because a lot of retailers today really care about offsetting and just being friendly
and carbon
sustainability, right? So that really is a big feature of our service. And something that's very unique to us, along with the fact that we have probably the largest delivery network out there of any one particular smaller service provider, which does help a lot as well. So with us, it's you don't have to go and do what we do, which is procuring across pretty much every city and state in the United States.
Got it. So is there a true cost savings to your retailers, or is it kind of they're just being able to pick from a larger marketplace and just choose who they want? Are you like suggesting who is the cheapest option?
That's a good question. I mean, we definitely don't suggest. We are the parcel carrier. So when they print out a label, it actually says ShipX on it.
Got it.
So everything that happens, all that happens upstream when they print a label, our systems already know exactly how to get that label the most efficient routed way to the final consumer, the consignee, as we call it, the person receiving the box or the package, right? But to answer your original question, yes, there's definitely cost savings. We typically save a company about 20 to 30%. On the parcel that we're able to service, right? So again, we are an alternate delivery provider, so we cover about 75% of the U.S. So all of our companies still use, in one way or another, some of the national players that have been around for 60 years. Those guys still have, every zip code covered in the United States, or 99%, let's say. So they have to use them as well, right? So we want to be the best second option in the US. That's kind of where we sit right now, really, really well. Even if we do have retailers that, let's say, give the majority of the volume to us because of the significant cost savings.
Got it. What's your typical retailer, like just a profile of the typical retailer that you'd work with?
It really runs the gamut. I mean, it really runs the gamut because there's a lot of ways you can potentially work with us. For example, if you could bring the boxes to us, you could literally have, I mean, this is in theory because probably be too small, but you could technically, have one package because as long as you're bringing it to us, we're able to technically bring the parcel through our network. And we currently have 5 distribution centers in the United States. In New Jersey, California, we have 6 actually, 2 in California, Chicago, New Jersey, Atlanta, and in Atlanta. I'm sorry, I said Miami. I'm in Miami, but we don't have one in Miami. In Atlanta, and in Dallas.
Okay.
So yeah, but then the average company though, the average in our network is somewhere like 1,000 packages a day. But we have companies that also ship 100 packages a day, so it really runs the gamut.
Got it.
And I would say probably between 500 to 1,500 a day is the general average of a company in our network.
Okay, got it. And what does that process look like for them to use you? Are they like setting up an account with you? Are they just going online and letting you know, hey, this is what we have to ship? How does that process look?
Yeah, so it's typically it is a step-by-step process, right? So they need to reach out. We need to be able to understand what their volumes are and where it goes. So typically there's something called a PLD, a package level detail report that we typically get from them that lays out, let's say, over the last 30 days or 60 days or 90 days, however long they want to give us, of their overall package volume, right? Once we understand their overall package volume, where in the United States it's going into, what markets it's hitting, we're able to provide a solution that usually includes pickup, or they can bring it to us, as I mentioned earlier, depending on the volumes, but usually includes pickup. And it's from that point on, we go through a pretty straightforward technology integration. We are currently integrated with a lot of also TMS platforms in the United States. So sometimes that technology integration could take as little as a couple of hours. Sometimes it takes longer, depending on, again, how complex it is. Some of these bigger retailers have very, very complex systems. But after the technology integration is done and they could print out our labels as part of their general operations, and we understand what the operational flow will look like, pickup times and so on and so forth with the trucking side, they're able to then track a package on our website just like any other carrier, which you're used to with UPS, FedEx, Amazon, whoever else you're used to tracking with. So from that point on, it's a very straightforward process. And for the end consumer, it's also very straightforward because the process is nothing. It's not dissimilar to what you have with any FedEx or UPS. So it's a process they're used to. We're not one of the things about what we really try to do is we try to make the process as similar to what a consumer would experience as possible, right? We're not trying to really reinvent the wheel on that because the process ultimately works on how to track a package today. I mean, there's always ways you could maybe do it better. For example, we provide a VPOD, which is a visual proof of delivery. In other words, a simpler way to say it is we take a photo once the package is dropped off at the doorstep. And those are things that, for example, FedEx UPS does not do. So there are benefits to using us from a tracking standpoint, but overall, the actual process is very, very similar. So it's that ability for us not to add any complexity for an end consumer that the retailer really likes a lot as well.
Got it. Has there been any resistance for working with any of these other shippers, being that ShipX is the brand that everybody's seeing? Do they feel like that's a disadvantage to them from their branding standpoint? Do you ever get that?
That's a great question, actually. The answer is no, only because most of these delivery companies that we work with in our network and that we contract with, they themselves don't have it as a singular entity, the ability to work with these retailers. They're just either too small or they cover too small of a geography. This isn't exclusively the case, but typically, and I've noticed this, just logistics is one of those industries where people are very big into symbiotic relationships. You shake my hand, I shake your hand. And we don't really run into that. I mean, in our industry, I think the experience is much more important than the branding itself. So our delivery providers, are much more inclined on like making sure their drivers are able to deliver on time, and performance, efficiency. Like they really care about that kind of stuff. And then getting their name out there is not necessarily the biggest part. They rather grow their footprint. They rather execute more deliveries as a carrier within their given footprint, which is typically, what we find being the case.
Got it. Is there anything that you guys won't ship?
There is, besides there's nothing really that I can think on top of my head besides like firearms maybe, but I don't see why we wouldn't ship firearms either. We could probably do it. I just never came across wanting to ship firearms. If anybody wants to ship firearms with us, more than happy to look into it. But I can't think of anything. We don't do like, your traditional, we don't do any assembly. We don't do any white glove home delivery. We don't do any of that.
Okay.
So if a furniture retailer wants us to get inside and set up their, fitness equipment, that's not something that we do. We could deliver it to the doorstep, but we won't deliver it into the house.
Got it. And are you guys just nationwide now, or is there a global footprint? What are you guys looking at?
Yeah, so we cover 45 states, 18,000 zip codes in the United States. So we do cover 75% of the population of the United States. There's really the urban area that we don't cover, suburban area that we don't cover. We cover every major city in the U.S. That I can think of off the top of my head.
Got it. What are the plans for growth, scaling the company? What are your plans for the next 2 to 5 years?
Yeah, so companies like us, we really grow through onboarding and bringing in more volume. It allows us to have efficiency at scale. So right now for us, it's leveraging what our existing network that we've already built, which is tremendous amounts of redundancy. So we're able to execute deliveries on time all the time. And continue to try to build on that, right? We want to continue to build on that. We want to continue to bring on more accounts in a methodical manner, right? We don't want to overwhelm ourselves either. So it's balancing that with consistently wanting to grow the network, and we don't necessarily need to grow the network, across more coverage area. We can continue to grow it even as far as the current density we have in our current markets, since we do cover so much of the U.S. already, which is really the plan right now. So we'd love to obviously cover 100% of the U.S. We have an entirely private network. So it's all, our own people doing these deliveries, which is really unique and amazing as well. That's kind of where we want to do right now, get more business, grow more volume, and leverage our existing infrastructure and hopefully scale that very methodically with our customer base as it grows.
Got it. How have you guys financed this venture?
So we did raise a seed round in the beginning when we were kind of in our earliest phases, past the proof of concept stage. We raised a seed round. We haven't raised any subsequent rounds. We are profitable. We are a profitable venture in the sense that we still invest back into technology, obviously significantly, but we like most transportation companies, we try to make at least something on our services. So that really helps us be self-sustainable. And I think that just in general these days, especially with the cash environment that's out there, with the lower valuations companies are getting, it's very prudent to be as careful as possible when spending money in this economy. As you're trying to grow your business, just watch every dollar. We're very big on that. That's, I think, extremely important. I think not just for us, but any logistics company that's out there, because in our space, it's really easy to lose your ass. I don't know if I can say the word ass, but yeah, it's very easy. Very easy to do that when you're, if you're not watching your bottom line, which everybody has to, right? The environment we are in is a shipper's environment. There's a lot of overcapacity in the marketplace right now, and they're driving costs down. So, the margins are being affected, but with that being said, one of the great things about logistics is that we are typically able to weather most storms, and people always need to ship things. So there's usually enough meat on the bone for everybody, which is amazing. It's a very, very friendly industry, which is great. And I think one of my favorite parts about being in transportation.
Got it. How do you guys stand out in a very crowded space full of startups and new tech coming every single day? What are you guys doing to stand out?
I think this might be a little bit cheesy or corny to say, but we really lean on our services just as much as our technology, right? I think a lot of providers in the space are, they're so technology, but their services kind of suck. We're very big on services. We're very big on, investing in our operational infrastructure. We're very, very big on, hiring the right people, making sure people are making livable wages. The drivers are happy. The employees are happy, and that really shows in the service quality, our delivery on time percentage, our ability to deliver in peak in kind of times where other delivery companies tend to fail or have failures, across their services, right? So that's really the idea. Is as much as we are a technology company, we're also a services company, and we are very heavily invested in our execution of these deliveries so that the end consumer has a very seamless delivery experience from these brands.
Yeah, that was actually my next question. What are your KPIs and what are you looking at? You kind of spoke to some of those. Can you speak to like some additional KPIs that you guys may have in terms
Yeah,
of?
I mean, our on-time delivery percentage is 99%. And even in peak, that only dropped a couple of points, which is great. Way better than the industry average, which was like 80% in peak, or 85%, I think, for the nationals. Our photo VPOD is in the high 90s as well. So in other words, our ability to take a photo, because sometimes you can't take a photo of every delivery. Let's say you meet the guy outside the house, you're not going to take a photo and take a hold of the box.
Right.
So that's in the high 90s. Our technology uptime, in other words, the percentage of downtime that we have due to things like repairing stuff in the back end and our software is extremely low. Or rather extremely high, I should say, 99.9999% uptime on our technology. These are really the KPIs that matter. From a sortation standpoint, we try to get everything in and out of our warehouses with under 6 hours. They're able to get customers able to get a scan very quickly, typically from the pickup point to the last mile, as well as just generally speaking, we try to keep all deliveries within our network. I think we're averaging something like the average delivery in our network being 2 days as of right now. So that's really impressive because we do cover such a large part of the U.S.
Got it. What is the biggest challenge you're facing in your business today?
The biggest challenge is predominantly just the market that we're in. For retailers to want to explore things like us, right, alternate deliveries providers, they need to be open to exploring them. And right now, some of the retailers are hurting, right? Some of our retailer partners are hurting, and that hurts our volume growth or our trajectory. With that being said, what I've seen in the last couple of months, and it might be relevant to the general audience, is the environment definitely is shifting away from like a really depressed environment. I think the landscape is changing in a more positive tone right now. Retailers are more open to talk. Retailers are more open to using alternate delivery providers, and their volume tends to be growing. So, and it's just the general the environment that we're in, right, from an economic standpoint. But overall, that's kind of always, I think, in logistics, right? You get a truck, you got to fill the truck. You get another truck, you want to keep filling the truck, right? So that's the idea. Got it.
Is there anything that you're fearful of?
Well, I am fearful just generally, again, for the overall environment of the economy continuing maybe in a downward spiral. Obviously, stuff that's happening with the banks out there, which doesn't really affect, I would imagine, too many logistics companies, perhaps, but still, those are the types of things that you just worry about. I think just general, we tend to do really, really well when the economy is doing well. As with a lot of industries. So because we aren't in the best economic shape, I think that is a little concerning. But other than that, I have a positive outlook on where things are headed. So I'm going to stay positive and, just thank God for the opportunities that we have to service our, existing retail accounts and any new retail accounts or shippers that want to work with us. It is a blessing to be able to do this day in and day out. So it's exciting.
Got it. Talk to me really briefly about your team and the culture of your business.
Yeah, I mean, so that's a great question because we did make an acquisition last year, and I think as a younger company making an acquisition, a lot of times, you kind of have our culture mixing with their culture, and while our culture is still trying to be established, really. Right. So that does cause sometimes. An environment where it becomes like difficult because you're like, oh, hey, we're used to doing this, but now we have to kind of work this way.
Right.
But we are a fast growing startup, and we try to bring that every single day, that intensity, that passion to everything that we do every single day. Right. So everybody that I try to bring on and work with and integral. I call the people that work at ShipX, my partners really, and I mean that wholeheartedly. Not just because they all got equity in the company, but because we really try to have that partner approach with our retailers, with our shippers, with our partners, with our technology partners, and any other companies that we work with. And I think that's kind of if I have to say the culture, I'd say it's a culture of collaboration, really. So we're very collaborative, very customer centric, very customer focused. In general, I like to look at some other companies out there. Kind of always try to research companies out there doing great things. And for us, I think it's important to always stay in the know and see how other companies are growing out there, the cool things that's happening out there. Like I said, I'm a big cheerleader for the industry as a whole. So, all the other companies, literally whether they're even direct competitors, I'm always a big fan of seeing out there, pushing the agenda, pushing the envelope, and I hope we continue to do that.
Got it. How do people connect with you, Solomon, and learn more about ShipX?
Yeah, so you could reach out. We do have a LinkedIn page. We have an Instagram, ShipX Delivery. We have on our website, shipx.com, you guys can go and put in a form if you guys want to learn more about us, either sales or whether it's a sales inquiry or just general information. Happy to help in any which way. So that's shipx.com, shipx.com. Probably the fastest way to get a hold of somebody via email, because there is that form, that contact us form you guys can fill out. There's a drop down of what the inquiry is about. That's basically the best possible way. You can also connect with me on LinkedIn as well under Solomon Zakinov. So if you guys want, I'm happy to connect with anybody on LinkedIn as well.
For sure. Amazing. Thank you for your time today, Solomon. Great business. I love learning about it. I look forward to, bigger and better things from you guys in the future, man. I'm looking forward to seeing ShipX. I gotta, start using you guys. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, you know what? I appreciate the time, first of all. And, I watch some of the stuff you guys put out. It's really amazing, highlighting a lot of cool entrepreneurs, a lot of, self-made, entrepreneurs, right, that are kind of coming from nothing and creating really cool businesses, creating generational wealth for their families. I think logistics is a special place where, we don't have the highest barrier to entry, right, as some other industries. You don't got to go to college for 10 years. I mean, you don't got to go to college at all. You could literally go and buy a truck and become a trucker tomorrow and probably make a livable wage. It's a unique industry in the sense that the sky is really the limit for anybody who wants to get into it. So shout out to you guys as well, Rahmel, and the rest of your folks that you have on the team, putting this stuff together. It's really cool stuff. So congratulations as well on all your success.
Thank you so much. I was going to ask for a final thought, but I think you just gave it, man. That's a great way to end this show. Thank you so much, Solomon from ShipX. You guys, make sure you go check out ShipX. Make sure you go connect with Solomon. This has been our first episode. We're trying something new here. We're going to start highlighting these tech entrepreneurs doing amazing things in transportation logistics. Thank you so much again, Solomon, for setting it off right, man. You were an amazing guest. I appreciate you, sir.
I appreciate you, Rahmel. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Speak soon, but thank you.